When he turned his back from shoulder to shoulder, it looked like as wide as the tailgate of a truck.
And just darkness, literal darkness, just came like all over, just all over me except where I was standing.
This thing let out the most blood-curdling, mind-blowing, spine-tingling scream that you've ever heard in your life, and it cut through me like a knife.
And I knew that they were going to take me. I just knew it. And then the next thing I can remember is being levitated.
Well, when I look in there, I see two big eyes staring back at me.
Hello and welcome. You're listening to the Bump Podcast, a place for the believers of the unexplained, monsters, and paranormal. Join us, and we'll go face to face with what goes bump in the night.
Hit record and you can just start whenever you want to.
Hey, I'm Sarah. I'm the curator and founder of the American Snallygaster Museum here in Frederick, Maryland.
Hey, Sarah. Snallygaster, that must be like a local cryptid for your area, right?
Yes, it is. So we have a couple local cryptids in Maryland, but Snallygaster is the most famous one that no one's ever heard of, which is it's the one that's gotten the most real life news coverage and had real interactions with people. So I felt like it was important to raise awareness about it and tell people about it, because I couldn't believe how many people were like, what are you talking about, when I brought it up. So really felt like it was a big deal to me.
Oh, sweet. Well, yeah, like I was telling you before we hit record here, I didn't know what a snallygaster was, to be honest, until, just a couple months ago. If you don't mind, would you go into what it is, what it looks like, maybe the origin? I'm sure you know quite a bit about it if you're starting a museum, So,
okay, the Snallygaster comes from the German term Schnellergeist, which means quick spirit. It was something that was kind of used in German culture to describe, like, you're sitting in a room and something suddenly knocks over, just weird little things. But somehow when they came over here to this area in the 1700s, this creature came to be, and there's no real exact point where it, became an invisible thing to a visible thing, but it's a chimera. So it's like a half dragon, half bird, like it's got a bird's face, it's got one eye, and in a lot of accounts it has these like really cool tentacles that come out of its mouth, and supposedly it flies around and it sucks your blood with these tentacles, and it's like a vampiric creature. So it was just a word of mouth folklore type of thing from the 1700s on, and then there was this big Snallygaster flap in 1909, right about the same time as all the Jersey Devil stuff was going on. And some people think they're the same creature, but the description's pretty different. Some people think they're territorial creatures that stay in their own zone. So in 1909, there was a host of Snallygaster sightings starting in Ohio that then came into Frederick County, Western Maryland area, through to Carroll County, through Pennsylvania. So we have like this little zone, and that's actually a big feature we'll have in the museum, is this map of all the different sightings. During that Snallygaster flap, there was actually a real person killed, and their death was attributed to the Snallygaster. His name was Bill Gifferson, and supposedly he was found drained of all of his blood, or exsanguinated. That death never got a full investigation. It was just attributed to the Snallygaster, and that was that. There is the tale of President Roosevelt coming to hunt the Snallygaster. It's hard to say if that was true or not, but it's a pretty interesting little bit of American history. So that's our first Snallygaster flap.
Wow. Well, so there's on record a death attributed to the Snallygaster.
I think it is wild that somewhere out there, this person's cause of death is this creature, and that gives it this weird kind of realistic, like it's crossed into real life thing for me, that a lot of other cryptids don't have real deaths attributed to them.
Yeah. Yeah. See, the thing is about the way it's described and the origin and all that, it sounds like it could fall in kind of like two camps. You know, it goes into the cryptid, obviously. I mean, if it's a physical creature, it's killed a man, you know, but also into like the paranormal side of things, being like a spirit, you know, initially. But was there just one, or is this like a population, you know, kind of like a you know, kind of like Bigfoot, you know, how there has to be something. If it's a physical creature, there has to be a healthy population.
You would think, right? So there's a theory has a 23-year hatch cycle, because after that 1909 flap, there was really nothing. The next Snallygaster flap happened in 1932, when supposedly the last one was killed by prohibition agents, which were like, you know, boo, hate them.
Yeah.
Got drunk in a vat of moonshine, and the prohibition agents blew it up. So I'm not down with so supposedly it's this, and that's what lends it more to the paranormal, right? That it's this being that somehow lays an egg and has like one hatch cycle every 23 years. I don't know of any sighting where there was more than one Snallygaster at a time.
Wow.
Where I'm like, oh, well, is it a flesh and blood thing, or is it something else?
Right. Right. And it getting drunk in a vat of moonshine. And maybe it stopped over here in West Virginia on its way to Ohio, from Ohio to Maryland, you know. But that explains the I was on your Instagram earlier, and I saw the taxidermied Snallygaster that you had made, which is just cooler than hell, you know. But it had the little cask barrel underneath there. I thought I didn't know what that was about, but now that makes perfect sense. That's awesome. I love it.
Something interesting. So the person that made that taxidermy, Risa Reyes, is just, oh my God, I think the world of her. I've met her once and I'm obsessed. But what is interesting, and I didn't even really get to talk to her about this. This was my notion, is that the 7-pointed star on that cast, the heptagram, is supposed to be this piece of hex magic and folk magic that wards the Snallygaster off. So the fact that it's holding the cast with this ward on it is kind of like a fuck you, like, oh, sorry, I don't know if I can curse, a bleep you. Because he's, you know, clearly won whatever this was about. And I think that's pretty rad. And that was kind of a cool component of her piece. I don't know if that was intentional or not, but I really took it that way and enjoyed it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's cool. Let me see that. Can you hold up that mason jar there?
Got my Mothman moonshine jar that I made. I'm gonna have it in Morgantown this weekend for sale.
Awesome.
Yeah, awesome. I made a and Braxy grafted monster sheep squat stuff, and then I got real deep with it. I don't know if you saw the Indrid Cold Gray Barker, like John Keel road that it went down, but hopefully, I'm really hoping weirdos will appreciate it as much as I do, because I've been totally amused with my BS this week.
that is badass. That's gonna be in Morgantown, and it'll probably be before this makes it to the air, you know, to the podcast waves. But is that going to be in like an Etsy store or anything like that?
I am hesitant to sell glass because I do a lot of glass etching, and this is like a sealed vinyl on glass. I'm hesitant to sell glass because I'm so worried about it breaking, and because everything is kind, like all my designs, like there's something different about everyone. So I'm kind of like, my glass stuff is usually stuff I just give to people because I think it's fun as a gift. I would just feel really bad if something broke. But other stuff, yes, like my coffee cups and all that other stuff for sure, tote bags, all that.
Okay, sweet. Are you going to other conventions? Are you going to be like, if Mothman happens this year, if they do the Mothman Festival, are you coming down to that?
100%, yeah. I've actually already put in my vendor application for Mothman Festival. I'm super stoked on it because I have bribed my children. So I have really, really far apart boys, a 12-year-old and a 9-month-old. But the 9-month-old will be running around by then, and I've bribed the 12-year-old to dress up as Teddy Roosevelt with a gun, fake gun, and chase the little one around dressed as a Snallygaster, because I just think that's going to be hilarious. So I had to bribe him with this really rare like vinyl he wanted, but I was like, wear the Teddy Roosevelt costume, it'll be so funny. So yes, we're doing that. We're doing The Tennessee Sasquatch thing where Sasquatch that plays the saxophone is going to be there. Cryptid Con in November, and then a bunch of local Maryland stuff just to show some of our pieces and talk about it. Snallygaster and our ultimate thing besides Snallygaster is really Pennsylvania folk magic. We really want to preserve that history because Pennsylvania, Maryland folk magic is kind of dying out and people don't know about it. And so that's a big part of this for us.
Yeah, for sure. I get into reading about folk magic too. I don't practice anything like that, but I love hearing about it and just the hard fact that stuff works. You know what I mean? Whether it's to heal or to make your neighbor's socks fall down every time they stand up, it's something, it works,
It absolutely does. I mean, I don't practice it either, but I think it's an interesting study. And I'm a nurse. I work in the emergency medicine field, and I've worked in Western Maryland, and there is some of that folk magic still with these people that live out in the mountains. And I'm like, yeah, I mean, I'm not going to argue with you because some of the stuff that y'all are doing really works. So there's stuff out there that we don't understand. So I'm really interested in it and preserving that history.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, I hope I get to see you when you come down to the Mothman Festival, because I'll be there. Maybe not as a vendor this year because I'm having a hard time getting shirts made and that kind of stuff. I'm trying to find a place to do that, but I will definitely be walking around and doing on the fly interviews and stuff like that for the show. So that'll be fun. So tell me, what got you into cryptids?
Oh goodness. Okay. So remember Weekly World News with like Bat Boy and Elvis sightings and all that stuff. I was just really fascinated with that. Every time I saw it in the grocery store, I would like beg my parents to buy it for me. I followed this Bat Boy saga for like way too long. And I grew up in Texas. So there was like this big chupacabra flap in the 90s in Texas. And I got really deep into that. And it just like never went away. Like I would always find myself, searching for it on the internet, or God, I'm old. This is really dating myself, like back in the AOL chat room days, like trying to find someone to talk to me about this weird stuff. And having the internet the way that it is now and being able to find all these other weirdos is just like fed into this thing. Even I think it was really definitely Weekly World News, Bat Boy. Like we were discussing this on Clubhouse, like Bat Boy was my first cryptid, love him forever, hope he's doing well kind of thing.
So is Bat Boy your favorite, or is it now the Snally?
No, Snally is definitely up there as my OG. But favorite is just very hard for me. Like I have favorites for a million different reasons. I like to make stuff with Fresno Nightcrawlers the most because I think they're so cute. But I don't know which one I read about the most nowadays. Probably Snallygaster just because of all the research.
Yeah. My daughter's favorite cryptid is the Fresno Nightcrawler. She's 16, and that was at Christmas. One of her stocking stuffers. I went to I think it's Mystic Novelty Company. They're on Instagram. Yeah, and they got this little glow in the dark Fresno. So I got her one of those and threw in there just for fun. I would say my favorite is, I'm boring. It's probably Bigfoot. Mothman, maybe. Mothman's up there because I'm from Southern West Virginia. What's up?
Yeah.
I'm 40 years old.
Okay, because I feel like Mothman and Bigfoot really resonate with this very specific group of men, and it needs to be studied because it's not just you. It's like, I don't know, you're like 35 to like 40, 50. There's this like big Bigfoot group. And then you get the younger people, like once you get the younger millennial Gen Zs, they start going a little more like, I feel like Mothman is their big thing. And then you get the Fresno crawlers. Like I hope somebody who does anthropology stuff studies this, because I would really like to know why that is. Like, why do you identify with Bigfoot?
Yeah. Well, if I would be asked why I identify with Bigfoot, it's probably because one, the evidence, there's all the evidence of Bigfoot, but two, I'm an outdoorsman. everything
Okay.
about survival and the outdoors. I'm all about it and always have been. And I've heard stuff out there that I couldn't explain. And I don't know. I like the wild man kind of aspect of things. You know what I mean? It appeals to me. But yeah, I definitely see what you're talking about with the Mothman. It's like the millennials and Gen Z, they love it.
Strange. And actually, like, I don't know how much you follow the stuff we're doing on Clubhouse, but we're all analyzing this 15-page research paper about why the LGBT community identifies so strongly with cryptids and this weird, like, kind of phenomenon. So I just feel like I wish people would just study all of the cryptid groupings a little more, because I think it's very interesting.
Yeah, that'll make for a cool study.
I would read it.
Yeah, I would too. Yeah, maybe it's the outsider thing. Maybe it's the bad boy with the Mothman. You know, he's edgy. But who knows? You know, I think it's a cool topic. Well, is there anything else you want to talk about today? You want to go into your social media? Maybe tell people where they can find you.
Oh yeah. So I am. Oh my God, I don't even remember my Instagram name right now. Snallygaster Museum, I think, on Instagram. I think I'm also Snallygaster Museum on TikTok, which I'm trying to be more active on. Facebook, we're the Snally House, because I don't know, it was too long. And we are still doing stuff with our website, so I don't have an official website yet, even though I bought the domain name.
Awesome. So, well, when you get the website up, I'm sure you'll announce it on all your social media, right? Okay, so everybody find a place to get in there and find the Snallygaster Museum, find Sarah, and go check it out. That would be awesome.
Appointment only for a little while because of COVID restrictions and because it is like a tiny cabin house thing. But I'm really, really hoping that some people will stop by. I know it's a little out of the way, but I'm hoping it'll be something fun. I love those type of weird little road trip things, so I'm hoping other people will enjoy it as well.
Absolutely. Where's it going to be at?
So this is part of it I should have talked about. We live in one of the older houses in Frederick County. It's a historic property, like with historic designation from the 1700s, that was built by German immigrants, which is why I felt very connected to the Snallygaster. So our museum's actually going to be on our property, like toward the back of it, because I don't want people walking up to my house. But we will be eventually doing some book signings, like wine tastings, meet and greet type of stuff in the house, because it's such a cool property. It's so weird. We have this weird like coffin door thing, because they used to do all the town funerals in our house, in our parlor. So it's like a special door that you could slide coffins in and out of, and there's just all kinds of weird, creepy stuff like that. So I'm really hoping we'll get to do some events in here and have some of our cryptid friends over to check it out. But yeah, it's going to be here. We're actually in Liberty Town, in Frederick County. So we're like in a really, really weird spot. But yeah, Frederick County, basically.
So your house is was your home from the 1700s?
So we were officially established 1789, and it's got a bunch of stuff in the National Register. It's the last, or one of the last Federalist doors left in the country. And we actually, when we bought the house, had to kind of schmooze them out of turning it into a museum, because it's really wild. But the person we bought it from wanted it to stay with the family and have these like kind of happy vibes. So we were pretty happy about that. So eventually, yeah, we will definitely be opening our house to people I actually had one group talk to me about doing a like vacation. So I'm kind of, we'll see how that goes. Hopefully it's cool. I've never seen a ghost here personally. That's Will.
That's what I was about to ask. I was going to say, your house is 200 and some years old, and you're going to try to tell me you don't have any ghosts.
No. Okay, and I was actually, another conversation I had today. So my son's bedroom, my 12-year-old's bedroom, was the office of a Civil War doctor who did surgery in that room. Not a peep, not a sighting, not a weird cold presence, not a door. I mean, nothing. It is such a bummer, because I bought this house. Walked in the house, the realtor shows up, and this is a coffin door. Like, I don't need to go any further. Sold, 100%. I wanted to live in a haunted house, and I got the oldest non-haunted house possible, apparently. I don't know how that works, but it's a bummer. Maybe the ghosts just don't want to talk to us personally. Maybe it's a thing with our family, but maybe they'll talk to someone else. So if ghost hunters want to come in and investigate, I would be super down for that.
Awesome. You got some snobby ghosts that just don't want to talk.
Very
Well, maybe it's, have you done a lot of restoration or anything, or are you trying to keep it close to what it looked like?
be close to what it was. I mean, obviously a 12-year-old's going to have all the fancy electronics, PS5, all that stuff. But I mean, we haven't really changed anything about it as far as like the layout of it. We still have the original dirt floor in the basement. Like, we're not doing a lot of that stuff. So maybe if we do, we'll make them angry. Is that what you're getting at?
That's what I was thinking. Maybe if you mix it up a little bit, you know, like, oh, look, I'm hanging something on the wall. You know, how do you feel about that? You know, just try to piss him off.
But I guess that being German immigrants from the 1700s, they'd probably enjoy that. So maybe I've got to put some Dueo stuff, because that's the Snallygaster's enemy. Maybe that'll be.
So what is the Dueo?
Oh, yeah, that's a whole other thing. So the Snallygaster has like a mortal enemy called a Dueo, which is a like dog man, wolf man kind of creature. From what I read, it goes back and forth between people like the Dueo because it keeps them safe from the Snallygaster to like they're both crazy. It's super strange, but there's not a whole lot of literature on the Dueo. We're gonna have a little section dedicated to it, but I was really kind of bummed that there wasn't more information like how the hell this came to be. It's so strange, because why would a dragon bird chimera fight a dog man? Like, it just doesn't really make sense.
Yeah.
It's not like the dragon would win 100%.
Yeah, you know it. It would have to.
Like with dog man, like, you can't fly. What are you gonna do? Catch at it? It's a strange situation there. Yeah, that's another part of the lore that's super weird. And then I think I talked about the 7-pointed star thing. Like, we're hoping that we can do a map with a tour of like because like a lot of the barns around here still have those stars on it. So we're hoping we can do a tour of those barns where, like, if you're driving through, you can drive past all of them and see the hex stars and kind of know what that folklore came from, because a lot of people don't know that either.
Wow. And just history buffs in general would love to come out that way and check out, you know, the homes that still stand from the Revolution. You know,
I mean, I think it's super cool. My 12-year-old's coming around to thinking it's super cool. But yeah, I would really love for people that know more about history and stuff than I do, obviously, to come out and tell me more things about our house, because there's a lot of weird stuff that I still don't know why it's in our house, like why the architecture is the way it is. So that's an open call once COVID's over.
Awesome. Well, once you get that museum open, let me know, or I'll be keeping my eye on it, I'm sure, because Maryland's not too far. I mean, it's an all damn day drive, but it's worth it. You know, I got family out there in Maryland somewhere, so I'll just make it a big road trip out of it.
Stuff to do here too, so it's not a wasted trip. Frederick's great.
Awesome. Well, Sarah, thank you so much. Like I said, this show, it'll probably be a few weeks before it comes on the air, but I really appreciate you doing this. I'm excited about it. I'm excited about the Snallygaster. I'm going to go look him up and see if I can talk my kid into sketching a drawing of it for me, because she's an artist. So
Please.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much.
Bye.
Later. All right, now we're getting ready for part 2 of this episode. The first part ran a little short. I was talking to Sarah about the Snallygaster Museum, and you know, I don't know how I let that wrap up so fast. It only lasted about 20 minutes, and I felt like it was a disservice to her. So she was kind enough to come back onto the show today and bring along Kenzie with her. Sarah and Kenzie are co-hosts of the Manic, Pixie, Ghouls podcast. They have one episode out so far that I've seen or listened to about Bat Boy. It's a lot of fun. I hope you guys check it out. as soon as they come back on as soon as they join me on this call, we're going to try to get into what individual projects that they're into and what joint podcasts that they're doing together and other kind of projects that they might have. I think they have plans of going to the Cryptid Con this fall. And Kenzie is also the host of Cryptid Chats. And I'll let her talk about that. So in just a few minutes, I'll bring them on here. I was going to go ahead and do a little intro for it. Again, for those of you that are watching it on Patreon, I want to show you some of the merch that Sarah makes. This is her Cryptid coffee cups. A lot of fun. I like it. She asked me what my favorite one was, and I told her, for me, it's Bigfoot. So she personalized it with the little Bigfoot stuff on there, put him in the center of the cup. I really appreciated it. And she actually hooked up my daughter too with Fresno Nightcrawler stuff. She's super nice. She went above and beyond for us here. So just a second, and I'll bring them on and let them introduce themselves. All right. Well, Kenzie said that she had an experience, or her family had an experience when she was 5 years old. I figure it would be a good place to start if she introduced herself, tell about that experience, and then we'll get you both on here to just talk about your collaborations. I listened to the Bat Boy episode you guys did. I loved it. And I thought it was cool that, one likes Bat Boy, one likes Mothman, and they're both West Virginia cryptids. Thank you very much. And we'll get into that too, okay?
Yes.
All right. Kenzie, if you don't mind, why don't you go ahead and take it away?
All right. Well, I'm Kenzie. I co-host Manic, Pixie, Ghouls with Sarah. I also have my own solo podcast. It's called the Crypto Chats podcast. And I am just a 26-year-old cryptid investigator from New Hampshire. That's my tale. But when I was 5 years old, this is my Bigfoot story. My family lived in a trailer park, and there was a fire escape door on one of the sides of the trailer. And my younger brother and I shared a bedroom. And one night at like 8 o'clock at night, my dog started barking. My parents started screaming. I woke up and I started to run down the hallway. The fire escape door was right next to my bedroom door. So I stopped in front of it because I could hear noise coming from the other side of the door. And it was like a scratching noise. And when I looked into the little window, there was a face staring back at me that was definitely not human, but it wasn't fully animal either. It was like somewhere in the middle. My parents had to chase the creature off because it tried to get my dog. My older brother got involved. He ran outside, tried to get it all figured out, but everyone came back in screaming because they were scared. My parents called animal control, and nothing ever came of it, but there was a bunch of like weird hair that was left outside of the trailer park door, the fire escape door rather. And the part of that that's like really interesting that you have to like keep in mind is that on trailer parks, the doors are not level to the ground. They're a couple feet off the ground because of the nature of a trailer being able to move. Yeah. So the fire escape door, the bottom of it was about 3 feet off the ground. So for this creature to be tall enough to have its face in the window, it had to be at least like 7 or 8 feet tall. Right. And it was like blonde. I don't know. It was very weird. And now like when I was growing up, my parents just pretended it didn't happen. And I would bring it up and they'd be like, I don't know what you're talking about. And my brothers would be like, my brothers and I kind of like conspired together to try to like figure out what it was. Cause we were like, that was something, like it had to be something. And eventually my brothers grew out of it. And I was like, but I want to know what it was. And my parents still won't talk to me about it. So I don't know. Between like, I saw the face of it in the window and then found the hair and like weird little half footprints and stuff like around afterwards. But my parents and my brother saw the majority of the creature and they won't talk about it. So I don't really know what it was, but I think it was a Sasquatch.
Oh, that's what it sounds like. You said it looked half human, half ape or half animal.
Yeah, I was 5, so like I couldn't sit there and tell you what kind of animal specifically it was. And, I'll be 26 next month. So like it was a long time ago, but I know for certain that it had very human features, but it was not a human. It was definitely not a human. The running theory, it was really scary. I literally didn't sleep for like a week.
Ooh, I hate it.
My parents for a while tried to convince us it was a bear. And I was like, that's not a bear. I was like, I know what a bear looks like.
Right.
And that's not it. And bears also aren't that big.
Yeah, good luck finding an 8-foot tall bear in New Hampshire, right?
Well, especially because I grew up on the coast of New Hampshire. I grew up in one of the like 5 coastal towns in New Hampshire. And when I was like growing up and still thinking about this situation, I did a bunch of research into like what the bear population in like coastal New Hampshire is, and there basically isn't one.
Right.
So I was like, I find it hard to believe that there would be a bear at this random, like that just happened to stumble upon our house in this trailer park in the middle of a coastal town.
Right. And try to take your
And bears
weird.
don't have like, they have a bear face. Like it's not
They have
very
like muzzles.
human. Yeah,
Yeah.
like there's a whole schnoz. Like I don't like
A
that.
schnoz.
Schnozberry.
So is that what
Exactly.
got you into all of this? Is that what got you into cryptids and the paranormal and everything?
Actually, no, literally not at all. So when I was a kid, my dad is a paranormal investigator, and he has been since he was probably in his teen years. He grew up in a super haunted house in Amesbury, Massachusetts, and was just really into it forever. And when I was about 8 years old, I finally was allowed to go ghost hunting with my dad. I had been begging him for years, and my dad was like, well, it's not safe for kids. And my mom was like, no fucking way, you cannot do that.
Right.
So my mom is afraid of her own shadow, and she did not want anything to do with like me being allowed to ghost hunt. And eventually I was allowed to go. And it kind of like tied in with my like interest in cryptozoology, because my grandmother on my dad's side, my dad's mom, was really into UFOs and aliens. And when she started to have access to like research on ufology and all of that stuff, it was a big topic of conversation was like the correlation between Bigfoot sightings and UFO sightings. So from there, she kind of like got really into Bigfoot specifically, and started her own kind of like love for cryptozoology. And my grandmother and I were very close when I was a little kid, and she passed all of that to me, and I just took it and ran with it, and now here I am.
Awesome. Awesome. It
That's
runs
so
in the
cool.
family. That is cool.
Yeah, no, it really
That
does.
is so cool.
I love it. So Sarah, how did you and Kenzie meet?
We were doing a clubhouse together like in February. And I was running my mouth about something, I'm sure. And then somehow like missing 411 came up, and we are both obsessed. And she messaged me and she's like, hey, if you ever want to talk about missing 411 and like missing people in national parks, like talk to me. And we just like haven't stopped talking since then.
Basically, yeah.
Basically.
Nice. So I probably didn't mention this. I mentioned it before we started this final recording here, but why don't you all tell me about the joint podcast you guys have together and your individual projects and everything, and just really plug your own stuff here.
Well, okay, Manic Pixie Dream Ghouls is like a combination of all of our weird interests. We're going like missing 411, cryptids, folklore, pop culture, like everything weird that kind of goes all together. And I feel like it's a really good mix because there's a lot of really heavy cryptid stuff. And it can be research heavy, but still have some goofing around. And like, that's kind of my happy middle that we're trying to reach. And we're recording our second episode tonight. So we're very excited, but our first one was Bat Boy, obviously, the OG.
Yep.
Yeah.
I feel like it's a really like refreshing take on cryptozoology because it is very light and like very digestible. Not to say that like a heavily like factual, podcast isn't easily digestible, but Sarah and I like to keep things like silly and goofy and fun, and it's enjoyable for us. everyone's telling us it's enjoyable for them too.
Yes,
So,
yes.
Yeah, which has been nice. The feedback has been nice.
I listened to the first episode and it is enjoyable. You know, it's like sitting in on a conversation, you know, and
yeah.
I just go along for the ride and you guys are talking about whatever you want to talk about, and you stay on topic, but you have your tangents, and it's fun. You know, it keeps it alive. You know, you don't get bored and like, okay, hurry up. You know, not a history lesson. It's good.
Yeah, I want cryptozoology and anything that we do to be a very approachable thing. I don't want anybody to feel like they're going to get laughed at if they ask a question, or the people are going to be really gatekeepy and, oh, if you don't know about this and this, or if you don't know about this theory, then you can't be a part of the conversation. And I think that Kenzie and I have both been excluded in that way from
absolutely.
different conversations or groups or things like that, because it is such a male dominated area, and because people just don't take you seriously when you look like very feminine.
Right.
And so I want it to be a very approachable thing for everybody. Like when I went to CryptidCon in 2018, I was really uncomfortable to go up to certain booths because it was really intimidating. And I'm hoping that when we're there this year, it'll be we'll be the safe area that everybody can feel comfortable and feel welcome and ask whatever they want, talk about whatever they want, and not be made to feel silly.
Yeah, I can appreciate that. And you're right. I'm a big guy, I wouldn't understand where you guys have to come from, as far as that. I don't walk into a room and feel intimidated, but I never considered that, and I would want everybody to be comfortable. I mean, hell, we're talking about cryptids, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
We're
It
all
shouldn't be like that.
we're all a little weird to start off.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And we're all probably a little awkward in our own ways.
Mm-hmm.
So to add, that uncomfortable feeling on top of it, that sucks. I think everybody should be able to just be themselves. And if they're, I hate to say it like this, but if you're going to these conventions and you guys look extra feminine, as you said it, they're probably intimidated too. You're talking to a bunch of nerds. They probably don't know how to take two girls coming up and trying to talk to them. So it goes both ways. Like they probably have that intimidation factor too, just for a different reason. They're probably not used to having attention, and you're not used to having to go in there and be in this male dominated field. So I'm glad
it can get a little bit weird, and it's just, I think that cryptozoology should be much more open to everybody, not just, feminine women. Like there's people of color, LGBTQ people, everybody should be able to feel welcome, because we all identify with cryptids for a reason, right? Like we all feel drawn to them for our own reasons, whether it's we feel outcast or we want to believe something else exists or whatever it is. And that's not specific to any one group of people. So everyone should have a spot at the table.
Yeah,
I think.
I
think
agree.
Sarah and I's overwhelming goal is like inclusivity and like, I don't know, entertainment and education in a way that's like that's, what's the word I'm looking for? Accessible
to everyone. Yes.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yes.
I think that's a great approach to take to it, and people will appreciate that. It'll actually mean something to people instead of just being a passing interest. They'll be able to feel comfortable there. So I think that's cool. I think it's cool that you guys do that. Let's see here. I got a few notes. Okay. Listening to your Bat Boy episode, I noticed, and I talked about this off the air, but we're going to talk about it now. And I'm doing this for a specific reason. Sarah, you said that you have a crush on Bat Boy, right? Is that a safe way to put it?
As a child, yes. Oh my God, I was so in love with Bat Boy.
And Kenzie, you said your favorite or your starter cryptid was the Mothman, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, I hope that From the Shadows podcast listens to this, because they like to talk trash a little bit about West Virginia.
No, they were saying so much nice stuff.
No, you don't know. Shane picks on me all the time. I hear it all the time. Now, those are both West Virginia cryptids, so 3 cheers for West Virginia for being weird. It's okay.
Agreed.
It's okay that we're
White
odd.
claw
and we
up
have-
to West Virginia.
Yes, thank you. We can have our cannibals, and we can have our big and Mothman.
Cannibals.
Can I just tell you guys that there was there's a state park in Massachusetts that's right across the border from New Hampshire that is like home to a lot of weird legends, and like it's supposedly super haunted. But there was a legend in the 70s that there was a whole like pack of albino people living in this park, and they were all cannibals and like killed people with chainsaws. And that was like a real legend that everybody believed for a very long time in New England. And I and I just think about it sometimes, and I'm like, wow. One of my friend's moms in high school told us that she was chased out of the park while she was pregnant with our friend by these chainsaw wielding cannibal albino people.
But if you're a cannibal, a chainsaw is the least efficient way to get to the meat. You're just gonna fuck it all up.
Yeah, it just ruins
it's just
everything.
you're gonna shred it.
It ruins everything.
Maybe they want
I mean,
a pork sandwich, maybe they want it loose.
Even then, you're gonna miss all the cartilage and tendon and everything. Like, it's not gonna be very good.
No, hard.
Well, I didn't start the legend, so you can't blame me for that detail, but
all your fault.
Somebody messed up there.
It's all your fault, Kenzie.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry.
I shouldn't have even mentioned cannibals. That's so nasty.
No.
Hey, are you guys going to stay in cryptids, or are you going to dabble into like true crime and stuff like that too? Because it seems like a lot.
I don't really talk too much about it. I don't really care that much about true crime, honestly. I don't like dislike it.
But it's all been covered, and like I feel like it's very easy to go into kind of like a yucky place with true crime and glorify killers, or not be as sensitive as you'd like to the victim. So I'm just kind of like, I think it's really interesting. I always will watch it and listen to it, and some of my favorite podcasts are true crime, but I just don't think it's like a subject matter that really, I don't know, like I don't think it goes with the vibe that I don't think it's like we're being silly, and I don't want to bring someone's misery into that.
Well, see,
I like have a very strong preference of true crime stories that have like a supernatural aspect to them.
Yes,
like,
if it has
very
supernatural, we
few
will do
of
it.
them.
Yeah,
but I just in general, I'm like, someone killed someone. Like that's not. Like that sucks.
That's
really
you know?
Yeah.
Exactly. So I don't really like true crime that much. I don't actively dislike it, but it's not like my go-to choice usually, just for that reason.
Yeah, because I asked that because I had a few people ask me about true crime episodes, and I bring guests on, so I typically wouldn't have a serial killer come on my show and talk about their experiences.
That's fair.
That stuff, I'm super empathetic. So if I hear about it, it breaks my heart. When my wife turns on Law and Order, I go to bed early. I can't listen to that kind of stuff.
It's sad.
But that being said, next week I'm going to have it is kind of like a true crime episode, but it's the supernatural kind that Kenzie hit on there. It's a local legend, so she's not a cryptid. She's definitely
Is it Greenbrier Ghost?
It's the Mamie Thurman legend. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of Mamie Thurman.
I don't know that one.
I haven't, no.
I'm very excited.
So good. Now, the woman who I brought on the show to talk about it, she's an expert. She's a historian and a playwright. And they did a local play that won state awards, based on the factual information. It has...
Wow.
It's got it's set in the 1930s, so there's like speakeasies. Yeah.
I live for that kind of stuff. I love that time period. It's so
there's betrayal.
Creepy. It's so much weird stuff.
Yeah, it's so good. It's got small town politics. There's a murder mystery. There's a scapegoat. This poor African American gentleman. Yeah, he was like the handyman of the home, and he gets accused, and horrible things happen. His lawyer was in the Klan. I mean, it's a horribly sad, tragic story, but it's so interesting. And then there's the ghost of Mamie Thurman, who is still haunting the hills to this day which makes it
Good for her.
okay to bring on the
That's,
show.
you know what? Good. I love a vengeful woman ghost.
Oh yeah, well she is.
I can live for it. I love it.
She is
And-
like the epitome of
As,
vengeful.
as she should be. I think tonight on Clubhouse we're talking about urban legends, and mine is a vengeful woman spirit. So I'm like so pumped. So my thing with true crime also is that my dad was locked up for attempted murder, and he was locked up with a pretty famous case in California that's pretty gruesome. And so like I grew up hearing about that kind of stuff a lot, which is what drew me into it. But I'm like, I don't know if that was the greatest thing to like constantly be exposed to.
Right.
It's interesting and everything, but like, for instance, when you open my baby book and you get to the year that it happened, my mom kept all the newspaper articles, my dad's crime, and it's really pretty horrible. Someone's face got almost all the way cut off. Like it was pretty horrible.
Oh, wow.
So I'm like, that person probably wouldn't like it if I was just rambling about it. Like it's just such a, I don't know, it's such an icky feeling.
Yeah.
And I don't know, there's just so many problems with that kind of coverage. I don't think I could do it in a way that would be respectful, even in a case that I was involved with. Like I couldn't. Right. It's too, so if it had a supernatural element, yes.
Yes.
Like Amityville.
One of the only ones that I like would want to talk about was like the Elisa Lam case.
Yes. That one is so
but like, cause like that one's like, it's got a weird vibe to it. So it's, but otherwise I'm like, most of them I'm like, yeah, a white man killed a bunch of people. Like that's sad.
Like that's just depressing. Like,
yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It is. So I'm sorry to bring it up. let's crank this back up a little bit. But speaking of ghosts, another West Virginia story. There's a beer named after this one. I think her name was Zona. I think that's what it is. But she actually stood trial in court. They had a ghost on the witness stand. Don't ask me how, but it is the only case in America where a ghost was used as a witness to help get somebody.
Is it the one where she appeared in the dream to her mother?
I think so, yeah.
I know what you're talking about.
I vaguely know that case. That was so cool.
Yeah, they made a beer after her. It's called Zona's Revenge. It's a wit beer.
Is it good?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's sick.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I want to have a beer. I want to make a beer. I don't even drink beer. I want to get seltzer, I guess.
Did you see that there was a Bat Boy beer, Sarah?
Yes, I got tagged in it and I was literally losing my shit.
That's
like
the same company.
I want it so bad.
Yeah. You guys got to come to West Virginia. You're so close.
I know. Well, we're gonna stop by
far.
on our way to Cryptid Cron. When Kenzie comes down there, Cryptid. When we are driving to Cryptid Town, Cryptid Gathering, we are definitely gonna stop. We're definitely stopping in Point Pleasant and Flatwood. So like those are on the way down. And then when we come, are you going to come to the Moth Boys thing in August? Because we're also going to stop. Obviously, we're going to be at that.
I'll be at the Mothman Festival.
No. Well, yeah, that too. But the Moth Boys film, whatever thingy that's happening in August.
I didn't even know about that one.
Oh, well,
I don't think they announced it yet.
Oh, just kidding. Cut this part out.
It's a secret still.
Okay.
So, let's go back and pretend I didn't just say all that.
Oh,
or
no,
say Cryptid Cron.
No, I liked Cryptid Cron. That was fun.
Cryptid Cron is way better than Cryptid Con.
Cryptid Cron is pretty cool.
Yeah. All right. Is there anything else left for us to cover? I know Sarah did an in-depth analysis of the Snallygaster on the first part of what's going to be this. Thank you again for doing that too, by the way.
Oh, it's always a pleasure, and I always find some new weird Snallygaster story or fact that comes out of the woodwork. I'm trying to do a little bit more on the Dueo, which is or I don't know what the Snallygaster, their natural enemy, like their sworn enemy. It's like a dog man creature, and I released like a shirt because the German people that have the Snallygaster lore called it the Hexenwolf, and I think that's the most badass name I've ever heard in my life. So I made like a Hexenwolf shirt, and I'm going to start talking about the Hexenwolf or Dueo a little bit. and how he ties into some other Maryland dogman sightings. Because dogmen, I mean, Kinsey and I have said this before, dogmen are the absolute worst. They scare me so
They're
bad.
terrifying.
Oh yeah.
They're so scary. They're
Yeah,
like
I try to
freaking
choose not to believe
Hexenwolf,
it.
like, come on. Yeah, I'm like,
Wait, can I just tell you guys something that I saw the other day on Reddit?
yes.
Can we just discuss it briefly?
Sure.
So I saw someone on Reddit say that Dogman and Ozark Howlers are the same cryptid.
Why?
I don't know. They're not.
Who are these people that you're talking to? Like the same person that said that the Dyatlov Pass people died in a fire. Like, give me.
No, that was
give me
some
a break.
rando on Twitter that tried to like get me and
I
was like,
know,
"Oh,
but
go
it's
do
like-
your makeup. You're wrong." And I was
When
like,
someone
"I am
says
not
something like that,
wrong."
you
First
just be
of
like,
all,
You know.
I literally was like,
You
"Okay,
got
dude,
to.
like you don't even
I'm gonna show
follow
you
me.
guys
Go away."
Yeah, get
But-
lost.
The-
This is,
They're like,
yeah, fuck that guy. Whoever you are, guy on Twitter, come to CryptidCon and catch these
let's
hands.
fight. Literally, I want to fight. Like I'm
Catch these
pissed.
hands
I'm like,
because
how? I
it'll
still
be the
did do my
warm-up
makeup,
fight.
and I looked beautiful, and I was still right.
Yeah, tell him to wash his ass. Like, ew. I just want to show you this awesome print, and I'm actually going to have the whole comic of this that this person on Instagram named Slackmatic made. And it is the, oh, my ring light's fucking it up. Hold on. It is the Snallygaster versus the Dueo.
Yes,
Oh,
I love
wow.
that.
Or
I love that.
Hexenwolf. Hold on, let me turn this up. It's so freaking sick. Like,
That's
so he
awesome.
did a whole comic about it, and I'm like super excited to have it in the museum.
That is
So
awesome.
everyone should go look at his stuff. Yeah, it's so cool.
Yeah, I checked him
So it
out.
was
You
like-
I think you posted that on Instagram.
Mhm. His stuff is freaking awesome.
Yeah.
Like, it's so good.
Yeah, he's badass for sure. All right, this thing is going to kick me off. I don't know if y'all use Zoom for 3 people yet, but
No,
it-
I
if you
barely
like-
can use Zoom for 2 people. It's a lot for me.
Well, 3 people gives you 45 minutes for free, and then they start charging you or whatever, or make you upgrade for
I can
100 and
That's
see
some
some
we're,
dollars.
like,
bullshit.
ticking down in the corner.
Yeah, so we
Well,
got.
are you going to come to Whiskey Taste Day next month?
Is it on the 8th of May?
Mhm.
Okay, that exact same day there is a Bigfoot meet in Charleston, West Virginia that I've already signed up for.
Ugh, but they're not going to have whiskey.
I know, but I can take my own whiskey.
Fine. Okay.
But how do I get a hold of
If
that
I quit my job
Snallygaster?
before then, I will definitely be there.
I'm going to see if people want, even though I asked Shane because he's like a postal person, and I was like, how much trouble, how much mail jail will I go to if I mail people? Because he wanted some for his people. And he said I wouldn't go to like serious mail jail as long as I like wrap it really good. So I was going to have whoever wants one Venmo me, and then I was going to just buy them and wrap them up really good and send them, because you can't technically send it.
Right.
Cut this part too. But yeah, I can send you some. I'm going to buy a bunch of bottles of it. So.
I will definitely.
Can you send me
Venmo
two
you.
so I can bring one to the Cryptozoology Museum also?
Oh,
if Gene
hell
doesn't come?
fucking yeah, because Lauren Coleman wants one.
Yeah,
Well-
I just got a job, a summer position at the International Cryptozoology Museum literally yesterday. I
Excited,
sat
yes.
down with Lauren Coleman and Gene and Nate, who both work there, and they decided to hire me because I'm very
Because you're the
cool.
fucking shit.
And
I'm so
I'm very
excited. So we need to
about
send,
it.
okay,
That's
we got
my
to send a
new
bottle
hero.
for them, and then we've got to make them some cups too.
Yeah. Well, we
Okay,
were
we'll make a
talking
little
about that
pack.
because at one point I went to go fill out my paperwork, and Lauren was like, I really want some souvenirs from the Snallygaster Museum. And I was like, well, Sarah will definitely send them to you. All I have to do is ask.
Yeah, all you
Lauren
have to do is
Coleman.
ask. I'll send all
Yeah.
kinds of shit. Yeah, like I send stuff to anybody. Like I send Snally's swag bags out. Like, of
Yeah.
course I would make like a sick cup for them. Oh, that'd be so
I
fucking
think I
cool.
got. If you can see back here in the corner, I got a picture of me and Lauren Coleman right here,
Oh my gosh.
where I met
That's so
him.
cool.
Let's see what. Get the dust off of it. There
It
he is.
does.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my god, how
That
cool.
was
When was that?
Mothman Festival, I think 2016, 2015, something like that.
Freaking, oh,
I
we'll
was
be at
really
Mothman
thrilled to
Festival
meet
this
him.
year too.
Yeah, for sure. I'll be there. We'll definitely have to hook up.
We do the
Drink-
Snallygaster whiskey there.
Yeah, drink that Snallygaster whiskey for sure. See,
I'm
oh,
so
you don't even have to
excited.
mail it, you know?
I know, but I can't be trusted to hold on to it. I mean, I don't drink whiskey, but I feel like I'll do something stupid. There's just no way I won't knock it over. or
You can
something.
send an extra bottle to me and I won't drink it. No,
I happen
to.
to know a guy that bought a lava lamp and then put whiskey in the box because it looks. Took the lava lamp out. I mean,
Oh, I thought he drank it. I was
No.
like,
Oh
You
yeah,
guys,
that's what I
me.
thought you were gonna
okay,
say.
I'm
please don't drink it. Okay.
I bought my daughter a lava
Bro.
lamp, and then I took the box and I put a whiskey bottle in it, and I mailed it to my buddy in Michigan, and it never got flagged because it has that liquid feeling in it and all that stuff.
Oh, true.
Mm.
It worked out.
Yeah, I think we'll be okay. And then, like, if I do go to mail jail, Shane will just come get me out
Yeah, there you go.
because I would never
Do you go to
survive.
actual jail if you try to mail something you're not supposed to?
No, I mean, I think if you try to mail like black tar heroin or something, but like, I'm pretty sure liquor, they probably just confiscate it. So
Yeah.
we'll
Shane
be
probably.
fine.
That's how Shane will get it right there.
He's gonna confiscate it.
All right, guys. Is there anything else you want to throw out there? Any kind of social media handles or anything? Because we got about 2.5 minutes left before it kicks me off.
Yeah, so we are Manic Pixie Dream Ghouls on Instagram, and I'm also at American Snallygaster Museum, and my new website is up, snallygastermuseum.com, which will link to all the social media stuff. And please subscribe to our Patreon for Manic Pixie Dream Ghouls.
Yeah, please do give us your money. I'm at Cryptid Baddie, and my solo podcast is at the Crypto Chats podcast. And yeah, that's it. I mean, subscribe to our Patreon, please. Let us send you
Please, because I'm gonna make
postcards.
that boy totes.
There you go.
Yes.
Yes.
Well, I will try to put all of that into the show notes before this releases tomorrow night. So.
Okay. No problem.
All right. And if I don't, I'll edit it. It'll be in there. Just it might take me a.
We trust your judgment. Don't even.
I got this day job I got to worry about too.
I know. Show off that Nightcrawler cup back there, though.
Oh, I did that during the original intro before everybody jumped on. Check it out.
Awesome.
Check it out. You want to
so
describe
cute.
it a little bit here?
It's so cute.
Is your cryptid?
We got
coffee cup?
Bigfoot.
Yeah.
We got all the cryptids, all the baddies
Personalized.
on there.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. It's even got a jackalope on it. I was like, that's so cool. I love this.
I tossed some weird ones on there. Some of them I put little secret Snallygasters on too, but I don't know who it
Cute.
went on. We'll do Oops All Snallygaster in September though.
Oh,
I love
that'll
it.
be fun.
Thank you very much for it.
Thank you. Bye.
Y'all have a good evening. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.